Hey, I thought I'd go over my hero skill tree and my weapons. So, in terms of weapons, I made a Cell Kaiser sword. I had enough ether fuses from running Yamato for the past week to upgrade this. I do not have it at 60 element, but I might just buy some scratch tickets when I get paid in a couple days, and I might get lucky. Right now in the AC scratch, there's quite a few items that are worth like tens of millions, at least on this ship. And I don't really care about the vanity stuff. I made this costume like last year before I stopped playing, and I haven't really felt a reason to change it unless they make like an actual tokusatsu collaboration, which they probably won't, because apparently like there's a 30% of the population is male characters, and I think it would be hard to have female tokusatsu costumes unless they all just looked exactly identical. So I would probably sell it. At that point, I would buy the item that increases your element by 5, and probably just buy a bunch of those. That way, I'd only have to find one more. So I've got 115 attack on it. The potential is at level 3. The potential heals you, like I think all of the Sega series weapons do. You get an 11% damage boost and a 5% damage reduction. 115 attack was it's like one of the common budget ways to increase your attack. So I used that. I only had like 10 million to work with. I made both of these weapons. This one is the same thing. I don't have modulator on it because I would have had to upslot it, and I just didn't feel like doing that. Really low on X cubes as well, so I just stuck with 100 attack. The potential on this, it's basically crit rate 5%, crit power by 10, and then damage on weak points by 6%. So it does quite a bit of damage. The Talus I have not worked on, because it's kind of a weak weapon, at least the way I use it. I haven't really gotten too much damage out of it. And B, because I'm broke. I don't have that many X cubes left. So it would take quite a bit of resources to get this up. Maybe when my stuff sells in the shop, I'll work on getting this up. But for now, it's going to stay the way it is. Now, in terms of my rings, I'm still working on the left ring. I'm thinking I'm probably going to get step reversal or step attack. The step attack, just attack ring, whatever it's called. That will allow you to dash and get the reload. That'll be really useful for the guns. I have Massive Hunter in the right ring. That basically makes it so, sometimes you have hyper armor. I believe it's like 90-second cooldown or around there with it at level 13. I'll probably get it up to level 20 at some point. So far, I've noticed that it does help. There are quite a few moves with the hero moveset that kind of keep you stationary. So it is nice to have a little bit extra damage reduction and some hyper armor. I know the effort ring is supposed to be better, but I don't particularly know how to get that, and I probably need to level up my stuff a little more before I can do that feasibly. Now, in terms of the skill tree, there's not really, the class just came out like 2 days ago, so there's not really a whole lot of, information on what to take. But there are a couple general consensus is that this stuff is not worth taking because it's 10 points for a pretty minuscule amount of extra stats. Now, you're not really strapped for points. As you can see, I have pretty much everything maxed out. By the time, even by the time I get to 75, I'm going to have pretty much everything maxed. But that's only if you don't take this stuff. Like 10 points for 50 HP is pretty useless. Definitely not worthwhile at all. Same thing with the PP. 10 PP for 10 points is a pretty bad value. They could probably do with, I don't know, if people weren't complaining about this class overpowered, I would say that they should just make it into a 5-point max skill so that you get 2 PP per point. That would probably make it a little more worth taking, but the way it is now, none of this stuff is really worth it. Especially when you consider that the hero class uses all the existing weapons, so that's why there's people like already level 80. Obviously, the limited quest they have on right now does help. You can get pretty good experience if you get a good party and everyone has good gear. But when you have existing weapons in the game instead of making a new weapon type, then that reduces a lot of the grinding. A lot of the people who played fighter, gunner, or force already had at least one weapon that they could use. It was the same thing with me. I have a capped gunner, and I have some pretty decent gear for him. So I already had a TMG. So that kind of reduces the grind a bit, and it means that the stats aren't really as important. I think eventually, if they ever remove the requirements to play this class, then maybe these would be worth taking at least for a while. Victory Shout, I don't really use that much, but I got 1 point in it just because it might help with using the TMGs. Obviously, the TMGs, you can't really regen your PP without reloading, so it would be nice to have that. I think the dash, the just attack ring, that would really help to get your PP back pretty fast. Hero Flash Guard, a lot of people have said that it's not worth taking for the same reason that the stats are, and that it's 10 points for a 10% damage decrease. Obviously, no, you can't really tank anything in this game, and if you are, then you're probably not playing optimally, and especially with this class, since there's no subclass, I think it would be really difficult to play a tank build, and it would probably take you forever to kill anything. So I didn't take that. What my plan is for the next couple points is I'm probably going to max this. This is 5 points for an extra 10%. So that would probably be worth it because the charge bullet with the sword does like ridiculous damage, especially on a weak point. I need to incorporate that into my playstyle a little more. So that's probably what I'm going to do with some of those points. The Talus stuff might be useful. The warp can be good, especially if it's an enemy or boss that's up high. You can get up there without having to jump, and with a double jump, you can make it even easier. Counter, I guess this would be worth it, but you would have to be good at dodging, and with this class, you don't get the step. Let me see what it's called. You don't get step advance with hero. So your dodging is going to have to be more honest. You don't get more invincibility frames with step advance with this class. You pretty much just have the base dash or step. So if you're good at that, it actually does do a pretty significant amount of damage. So I'll probably max that, but the problem with that for me is that I have not played this game for a year, and I'm still kind of getting my muscle memory back. There's also a lot of bosses and enemies that I don't have experience with. So it's definitely this is probably one of the more debatable things that you can take, because there's a lot of things that you obviously would not really bother with. The Aura Tech PP save, a lot of people are not even really using techniques with the Talus, from what I understand. I really don't know if that's true or not. I don't really play any magic classes. I play Techer to 75 just to play as hero, but apparently a lot of people aren't really bothering with it. One of the main reasons is these here. See, when you switch your weapons, or when you're at a close or far distance, you're actually getting more gear, and the gear is your strongest move. The gear will pretty much do ridiculous damage. I actually have done over 600,000 damage, which is about 30% away from the damage cap. I've done that with the hero time finish. So you actually want to be switching more often. Otherwise, you're going to have a really hard time filling the gear gauge. If you play with one weapon, I made the mistake of mostly playing with the TMGs because it's really good at crowd control. But if you switch and you actually learn the moveset and you switch as much as possible while keeping yourself alive, then you pretty much will almost always have a gear or hero time ready for the boss. And that pretty much just means that you just have to pop their weak point open and then use your hero time, and they're pretty much going to be hurting after that, if not just dead completely. So I maxed all this stuff out. So here's one. Increases gear fill rate when you attack using different PAs or techniques. So if you're switching, you're going to be getting way more gear gauge. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Right now the plan is to max out our high charge, and then probably get these two things for the Talus just to have everything complete. And then from there, I'll probably put some points into counter once I get better. I have noticed it does do pretty crazy damage. You are putting an extra 4 points in it for 8%. But that stacks with all your other stuff, like your hero boost. If you don't get hit for a minute, then you get an extra 60% damage. So you stack that on top of the counter, which would be 110%. I don't know if it works with hero time or not. I think someone will have to check that. Yeah, that's basically my game plan with the hero. I probably should be at 75 by the time you guys see this. At that point, I will have to get a weapon to plus 35, which is easier said than done. I have to be online a lot for the EQs, and I've been doing it as much as possible, but there was a bug yesterday, basically since the hero's been out, where a lot of the collection file experience hasn't been counting and the items haven't been dropping, so I lost about 2 days worth of logging on for the emergency quest. So it'll be a while before I can break the cap, but I should be able to get pretty much everything before then, or most of it. Anyway, that's it. I'll catch you guys later. Peace.